Alright, jumping right in on this one. Start off with a leaderboard check. Try to find the fastest NSX for B class on the track Spa. And it looks like in 91st place we have a 2:39.396 from Fred Hells? And as you can tell right off the bat, my wing continued shrinking and shrinking until it was no more. No longer have a wing hanging off the back of our NSX, just a wee spoiler from the body kit. And this was something that, as you can tell, my rival didn't opt for, the body kit. The body kit provides some really nice handling characteristics, as you can tell right there. Rocket in front of him, but then he's got the straight line speed by a mile. And we will see which prevails here. I think both are potential options for achieving a top NSX time on this track. I chose to go with the improved handling at the expense of some acceleration and straight line speed, and I think that is the best choice for the A class. Starting off pretty strong. That was a very good first sector there, hitting that apex nicely. And I've actually got the map pulled up this time so I can call out turn numbers. Heading into turn 8 Bruxelles. I think it would be more optimal to hug the inside of that curve, but I saw a lot of people in S class take that a little bit of losing the back in there a little bit. That probably cost me some exit velocity. I saw a lot of people take turn 8, you know, they kind of dive bombed it and then cut back in, but I think that might be something worth doing with the S class, but not really many of the other classes. I think hugging tightly on the inside is the optimal line there. All right, this one's always a challenge for me. I can never get my braking point right, but I do get it right here. Better than my competitor who kind of cut into the grass there. Definitely lost some speed from that. I took that pretty clean. I probably could have been a little more aggressive on the exit there, but we have pretty much caught back up to the Ghost. Unfortunately, though, heading into another long straight. So I'm going to lose some time there. I definitely think their build looks better than mine, but can their build go through turn, hold on, looking at my map, turn 17 flat out? I think not. Pretty good entrance there, pretty good exit, and that'll do it. That'll get us the number 1 NSX time, but as you can tell, this is only lap 6, 10 minutes in. Wasn't good enough for me. Wanted to improve on that a little bit. Not without first causing irreparable damage to my vehicle. So that was good enough for 92nd, I almost said 92th, 92nd globally, 92nd position globally. But if I remember correctly, it was number 2 or 3. I think it was maybe number 2 for the hardcore leaderboard. And I was only off by a little bit. So I figured, you know, what the heck, I got the NSX time, sure, but why not cinch the world record for, oh, that's weird. It said I was number 92nd, but now I'm number 84. These leaderboards are definitely a little funky. Just, I mean, this game in general has a lot of funky, weird little bugs, but, oh, never mind. I beat the guy who was in the 92nd position. I see, never mind, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so number 2, I only need it to save a 10th to get the world record, and let's see, can I do it? I tried to put on different colored wheels for each class, for each build class that I did with this car to kind of visually differentiate them. After this, I'll be doing the C class and then the R class. just on lap 5 here. Unfortunately, as far as I know, this game doesn't have a way for you to compare to your last previous best. It's only your session best, which is a little disappointing because it doesn't give me a great frame of reference for how I'm doing on these sectors compared to my last time. Now, obviously, I could race against my Ghost if I wanted to, but I thought it would be a little more engaging to show the rival that I'm going up against. So that was a pretty clean sector there. That'll put me out in front. And it looks like this person's also created a handling focused build. So they're not going to have a huge advantage. Or sorry, I'm not going to have a huge advantage through the next sections of the track like I did against the NSX that I was going against. That was kind of sloppy all around there. Wasn't my best sector. It looks like I lost 2 tenths there. Taking this, a little dive bomb that a little too much. Got some wheel skid there. Probably losing another 2 tenths there against what's optimal. Took that really clean though. Got my left wheel perfectly on the curbing. Came out through, used the track limits. And this is a little wider than I would prefer, but it looks like it's going to tuck in actually pretty nicely. And that is good enough for a new, at least in this 5 lap section, a new PB there, but I think that could probably be another 10th faster. That was pretty good. Very good exit velocity on those turns. Those are I struggle with what section is that? Turns 12 and 13, les fangs? Les fagnes? I don't know. No, I did take French high school, believe it or not. And we've pretty much left the RX-7 in the dust. Taking this flat out. Honestly, this is a build that I would actually enjoy racing online with. It's handles very well. It's quick. And that'll do it. The RX-7 can't even enter into my field of view. And that'll bring us down to a 38, which is more than I was looking for. So I'll take it. It wasn't a perfect lap. I could probably bring that down close to a 30. I don't know if I could quite get a 37. At least not with this build and tune, but it's probably possible with the NSX to get down to a 337. And just taking a moment now to admire some funny, dare I say, lazy texturing on the part of the devs. The Eknalubum parked off the side of the track here in case of emergencies. Let's see where that places us on the global leaderboards. Alright, that'll be number 64. And it looks like even if I were able to get into the 37s, that would only be good enough for, getting in the top 50. So I figured, good enough. I'll leave it here. If anyone else wants to challenge this, I'll leave open some room for improvement, make it interesting. But number 1 hardcore time globally. Can't complain about that. And this time, I actually remembered to save and share my tune. So if anybody wants to go against this time, you can, just load up my tune and give it a whirl without having to put too much thought into the actual build. Of course, you'll need to have your car level with the NSX decently high, but there are tricks for kind of cheesing that and getting that done quickly. Alright, let's take a look at the build. So we've got a few fuel and air and engine mods, but these all focus on improving handling. So the top level exhaust, intake manifold, and flywheel all improve handling as well as acceleration and or speed. So that's why I opted for those. We got the racing brakes, the chassis reinforcement roll cage. This is something I'd be interested to hear from other players. whether you use this on most of your builds or not. To me, it seems like kind of a free two performance, a free two or three, in this case, three performance points to allocate, and it usually has like very minimal effect on your acceleration with a little bit of improved handling and braking. So to me, it always kind of seems like an obvious choice, but I do sometimes notice people not running it. So looks like, oh, interesting. I actually don't remember this. So it looks like I've fully loaded the car with the extra heavy ballast, which I guess probably provides a equal 50-50 weight distribution to the car, which I suppose has some advantages to it. Got some anti-roll bars, springs, and dampers, and no weight reduction. It's interesting that I opted for the ballast, but then focused on performance improvements that were handling focused. I got the racing tires here, but stock front and rear tire width, which is a bit of an interesting choice with the body kit being used, because one of the main advantages of the body kit is the extra levels of wheel width or tire width that it provides. But you know, fair enough, it worked. Got some nice blue wheels on here. These are not the best wheels that you can choose, but as you can see, I capped out at 600 points anyway, so it worked for me, and I even had to go up a rim size to make it work on the rear. Got the racing transmission, differential. Differential is another one of those things that, to me, I guess I don't know exactly what it does. I have a general idea, but only until recently have I actually played around with customizing this. And if you don't customize it, I don't know if this really does anything. It says it doesn't do anything, but yeah, I'm not exactly sure. If you put it on a differential and you don't tune it, whether that has any impact whatsoever on your build. Opted to not go with the clutch here. Generally, I find that the flywheel, is that right? I don't know. I tested this. This might have been before I tested it, but I tested doing the flywheel versus the clutch because they have pretty similar effects. And I think the flywheel might be more optimal with the weight you save versus the amount of performance points it costs to allocate. No wing, and just the body kit. Nothing else fancy. Oh, whoops. Hold on, I guess this is another one of Forza's kind of weird glitches. Sometimes with the performance stuff, when you are switching between tunes and whatnot, it can get kind of confused as to what's going on. So it actually just reverted me there to my tune before I switched over to the B build. Just check the tuning real quick and then we'll get out of here. So fully slanted this in favor of acceleration. Well, not fully, I guess this can go up to like 6.1. But yeah, very short gears on this build, but you know, still gets up to like 140 miles an hour, and that was enough for the first straight on the track. Just barely enough. I mean, dipping into the red line there for sure. I think, is that right? I don't know, I can't remember. Provided a little more stiffness to the rear to get a bit of oversteer here, which I found was totally handleable with the rest of the build. Stiffened the springs front and rear, but provided a little more rear balance again just to get a little more oversteer going. Completely slammed the car. Interestingly, the rear is lower than the front. I probably didn't even look at that, but that doesn't intuitively sound like something you would want on a race car, but who knows. I don't think I touched the damping at all, the suspension geometry, and this might be the stock Aero too, which is kind of surprising. Normally I fully put it in favor of cornering. And oh, no brake pressure adjustment either. So a trick I used on the A and the S builds was to lower the brake pressure so that it was easier for me with the ABS turned off to just slam I'm using a controller, so to just completely slam down the brake trigger rather than having to like perfectly press it in to get just the right amount of braking. And you do lose some efficacy with the brakes doing that, but in my opinion, it was better to have laps where I would consistently get 90% of the braking right. But that was like the cap. I could not get it to be like 100% good versus, putting it to the default and having a higher skill cap, but messing that up more often. So maybe if I revisit the A or the S classes, I'll put that brake pressure back up to 100. But for now, it's kind of a nice kind of easy mode thing to put on, and that's pretty much it. Actually, a pretty straightforward tune. Actually, I didn't really tinker with it too much. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you for the Class C NSX record for Spa coming soon.